guys, it's been a long time since I have uploaded frequently. As stated in a previous video, my house is being worked on, so I don't really have a set place to film. Anyways, I have put together this tiny tutorial for you on fixing brakes. This covers everything from beginning to end, although this specific tutorial is on fixing air brakes. The same general method and steps are used to fix a leg or tail brake. Okay, so here we have a Phoenix resin which was cast by Siunta. I will list their website in the description so you guys can check that out. Resin is way different from plastic, so it's a lot more fragile and a bit more difficult to prep and fix. This model was painted by me, and you can check out some more photos of her on my website, which I will also link in the description. Also, I am accepting commissions up until Breyerfest. If anyone is interested, all of those details are on my website. So unfortunately, upon arrival to her home, her ear snapped, so she has come back to be fixed. Now, when I received her the first time to paint her, I repaired her ears and tail then, and her tail is still intact and is fine, but unfortunately her ears are not. Her ears breaking a second time prompted me to change my method of fixing brakes, and this way should absolutely 100% be unbreakable. So I'm going to share with you my updated method. So here you can see the original rods I put in place when I fixed her ears the first time. If the brake in question has been repaired previously, then you will need to sand away all of the old glue and epoxy and all of that stuff so that you can start fresh. If the brake hasn't been repaired before, then you can go ahead and skip that part. The first thing I'm going to do is drill a hole into both sides of the ear. It's a bit difficult to explain, but you want to drill a hole into each base of the ear on the head and each unattached piece of the ear. I use a Dremel for this. I got my Dremel at Walmart for $40. I had to purchase smaller drill bits separately, although that may not be the case depending on where you get yours at. So when I was drilling into this ear, I went a little bit too far and the bit came out of the ear on the other side. So as you can see, I now have another place to fix. If you do happen to do this too, don't worry about it because it's super easy to repair. But because the original rods I placed don't seem to be the issue, I won't be changing them out at this time. Here I have two-part epoxy which I will be using to fix the accidental hole I made. And right now I'm just fixing the hole from inside the ear. All I'm doing now is fitting the ear back onto the horse to make sure that the epoxy doesn't dry in a manner that keeps the ear from fitting properly. Okay, so while my one epoxy ear is drying, I can move ahead with the other ear. I'm using Gorilla Glue, and it is extremely powerful, so please be careful when using it, and you don't need just a ton of it. As it dries, it expands rapidly, so keep that in mind when you're applying it. I am putting on way too much right here, but I do wipe the majority of it off camera. So I'm using a toothpick to make sure that the glue goes all the way inside the ear. This is also a good way to remove extra glue because it comes out on the toothpick. So, also I apologize for my hand being in the way here. I wasn't really looking at the camera. Now you just have to attach the ear onto the rod, and once you've done that, you can either hold it in place until it gets set, or you can set it up against something where it can stay put. I usually choose to let the glue dry for 24 hours before I touch it again, although I think you are only required to wait like 30 minutes. I'm not really sure. Okay, so now that your glue is dry, you can move on to the next step. I'm using 400 grit sandpaper that is cut into smaller squares. You're going to want to sand down the cracks and any glue that has moved to where it's not supposed to be. You're going to see me rub my finger over the brake a lot, and all I'm doing is feeling to make sure that the area is even and smooth. If you are feeling a lump or what feels like a curb coming off of the sidewalk, you need to pay more attention to that area. Also, I didn't notice some of the glue running onto the horse's forelock area when I was applying it, and since it's mostly just foam, I'm going to be using one of my sculpting tools to lift and remove it. So here's the piece that I removed, and as you can see, it took some paint with it, but it's okay, we're going to fix that later. So unfortunately, I didn't realize that my camera had died while filming this part. All I did was fill the small break area with a small bit of epoxy and smooth everything out so that there wouldn't be a noticeable line where the break was. So after you let that dry, if you go back over it and feel that it's not completely smooth to your liking, you can always sand it down again. Now all that's left is to fix the paint. So I do have a cup of water off camera that I am dipping my brush into to thin out the paint so that it stays smooth. I'm using my regular go-to black color from Academy Acrylics called Mars Black. I will paint the ears in several watered down layers until it's solid, but that's not shown here. Here is the finished product. So this photo is terrible, but it happens to be the only one that I took, so that's going to be it for this tutorial. I hope it helps you guys out. Leave a comment and let me know what you think, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them as well. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or DM me on Instagram. I will link both of those in the description below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a like if you want to see future videos from this channel. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I will be holding a giveaway on my Instagram sometime soon, so feel free to check that out. And again, thank you guys for watching.